What if a house, long abandoned, held a secret so dark that it beckoned the brave and curious inside? One person steps in, lured by mystery, but what they find could be their last moment. As the door slams behind them, the whispers grow louder and shadows deepen. Something has been waiting. The moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows over the quiet streets. The wind howled through the alleys, rustling the leaves and making the branches creak, as if whispering secrets. In the distance, a figure moved alone, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The old house at the end of the street had always been a mystery. Its windows were boarded up, its doors locked, and it had stood that way for as long as anyone could remember. No one dared approach. But tonight, something felt different. The air was colder, and there was a sense of unease. As the figure drew closer, a sudden chill gripped them. The air grew heavier, almost suffocating. They pulled their coat tighter, feeling a strange pull toward the house. It loomed before them, twisted and decaying. The front door, which had always been locked, was now slightly ajar. They stood frozen for a moment, torn between fear and curiosity. Finally, they stepped forward. The door creaked shut behind them, sealing them inside. The air inside was thick with dust, the smell of mildew and decay clinging to the walls. The floorboards creaked underfoot as they moved deeper. The house felt alive, as if it were watching, waiting. They moved through the dark halls, room after room, each more twisted than the last. Strange symbols adorned the walls, pulsing with a dark energy. A faint whisper echoed through the air, unintelligible but unmistakable in its malevolent tone. Something was watching them. Something was waiting. The feeling grew stronger as they ventured deeper. A presence seemed to hover just behind them. They spun around, heart racing, but there was nothing. Only empty rooms, abandoned, just as they should be. But then the growl. Low. Guttural. Barely audible at first, but it sent a shock of terror through their body. The growl came from upstairs. They hesitated, but the pull of curiosity was too strong. Slowly, they began their ascent up the stairs, each step heavier than the last. The darkness seemed to press in from every side. At the top of the stairs was a long hallway, at the end of which stood a door. A faint light leaked from beneath it. The growl was louder now, unmistakable. With trembling hands, they reached for the door. Pushing it open, they found the room empty, save for a single chair in the center. But something wasn't right. The reflection in the mirror on the far wall wasn't their own. It was a twisted, darker version of themselves, something else. Something that didn't belong. The reflection grinned. The eyes glowed with a sinister light. Panic surged through them as they stepped back. The door slammed shut with a deafening crash. Trapped. The growl intensified, a horrible rumble that shook the room. The reflection in the mirror shifted, its shadowy figure reaching toward them. Something was coming. The walls seemed to close in on them, the air growing thicker, suffocating. The reflection's smile widened as the growl grew louder. They tried to scream, but no sound came. The darkness pressed in from every direction, and then they felt it. The presence behind them. They turned, eyes wide with fear. A pair of glowing eyes stared back at them from the doorway. But it wasn't the figure from the mirror. It was something worse. Something that had been hiding in the shadows all along. The thing that had been waiting. And as the figure stepped closer, its voice echoed through the room. You shouldn't have come. The darkness enveloped them, pulling them deeper. There was no escape. The house had claimed them, as it had claimed countless others before. The last thing they saw was the reflection in the mirror, now empty. The house stood silent once again. Its door creaked open, as if to welcome the next unwitting soul. No one would ever return to tell the tale.